Cut and Run, a 1985 feature directed by Ruggero Deodato, and probably one of his better films, actually. Now, we are talking about a violent, gory exploitation film mostly set in South America. There are some screen caps which demonstrate this. Do be warned of those. I did choose to exclude an extremely impressive piece of practical effects just because, well, did I really want to show off a man being pulled apart, split into two by a torturous trap? Not really, although I want to take a moment to applaud the morbid creativity of that special effect. Moment over. So, is this an elevation of a typical violent Italian exploitation film of the 1980s set in a luscious kinetic jungle? Not particularly. Perhaps one of the best or better examples of that category. It features some degree of technical filmmaking precision, some needlessly satiating cinematography, and also an air of genuine, horrifying affect, not merely relying upon ghost splatter or visceral repulsion, but it certainly does employ those things abundantly. Where Cut and Run feels like an effective horror film is in its nightmarish imagery. Deodato and cinematographer Alberto Spagnoli's eye for striking visual moments, their frames can radiate with unavoidable power. It is as though they know that the image of the moment comes first, more so than the moment. No one will care about the moment unless it is conveyed via an efficient sequence of images. The atmosphere conjured is interesting, so a reporter and her cameraman are investigating a conflict occurring in the South American jungle, to my memory, nation unspecified, let's say Valverde, between a drug cartel and a religious cult which may or may not have had connections to Jonestown. The drug cartel is paranoid of this cult. The cult have a way of decimating with relative ease the outposts of this criminal ring. The reporter and cameraman, Fran and Mark, initially investigate their surroundings with a bit too much confidence, although they gradually learn to be wary at every single step. Their news affiliate is watching their live broadcast when they can set it up, and a father seeks to reunite with his son who has been taken in with that wicked cartel. One gets the impression that the screenwriters, Cesare Fragoni and Dardano Sacchetti, tried to shoehorn in some Apocalypse Now toward the end of their script. Now, much as I was rather satisfied by it as infused horror film fare, Cut and Run is far from perfect. It contains at least one very dull stretch of acting between Tommy Allo and Anna when they are both subjects of the drug cartel, which I partly felt like fast-forwarding. No gratuitous animal murders to my memory, however, and no overt racist tendencies, although one could argue there is something intrinsically supremacist in films of this sort, featuring groups or individuals from developed nations interacting with tribal natives of an exotic locale. The notion of primitive versus advanced is a rather sensitive one, and there are tactful ways of addressing it, which are not necessarily found in Italian exploitation films. Cut and Run's finest attribute, along with a fun, relentlessly of its time synthesizer-reliant score from Simonetti, is the presence of the well-regarded Michael Berryman as an assassin for this film's Jim Jones/Colonel Kurtz, portrayed by Richard Lynch, it ought to be noted. Berryman's scenes are likely as not the best in this film's runtime. He has a fantastically terrifying presence, he is well framed in all of his moments, and he appears to be rather athletic from his motions, unless there's a stuntman employed. For those who enjoy these sort of films, gory, often Italian exploitation films of the typically 1980s, you'll possibly even love Cut and Run. I find myself quite satisfied with the experience of the film if I am thinking about it now, and I must say it might be considered in some thematic continuity of Cannibal Holocaust, owned both films utilizing recorded media as a plot device, although it, Cut and Run, hardly appears to be trying to say anything about the technology, as far as I can tell anyway. Still, for what it is, I quite like Cut and Run. Not for all, certainly not. If you don't think you'll enjoy this film, stay well away. But hey, otherwise, if you think it looks good, yeah, you know what you'll enjoy. Hey, have a most fine day all.